I ordered it.
I was trying to look at the lid and I didn't.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know they made mini ones.
It is. But then it's never really satisfying.
Zooming.
Let's get it rolling. Thank you.
Transition to
All right, everybody.
Yeah.
We are ready to start whenever we are done chit chatting. I know, right? Only 9 minutes late. Could be worse.
7 minutes closer than yesterday. But who's counting? You are. Always.
So thank you so much for being here. We have some new folks in the room today, some folks who were here yesterday who weren't able to rejoin us. But basically same tables, actually different tables, but same humans at the table. Really appreciate your time, energy, and contributions from yesterday. We'll be digging in a little deeper and making some decisions today, which Elliot and Addie will be leading us in. And I heard that staff were asked to participate more actively. We were trying to sort of hang back and give everybody on the council and in the room more space to participate, but we'll come and join you today and be more active. So thanks for asking us to step in. Just want to call your attention to a couple of the group agreements, which are on each of these little things. We also have the racial equity considerations that the council has decided to continue to center. So hold these in your hearts and your minds as you were doing your work today. Couple of things we struggled a little bit with yesterday, avoiding acronyms. Some of us have acronym brain, and sometimes those acronyms don't mean the same things to everybody. Sometimes they mean nothing to some of the people in the room. So as best you can, define what that acronym means. And if you don't know, somebody else near you doesn't know either. So please ask. Who talks a lot or talks loud, lean back a little bit and try to make space for somebody else. Invite other people into the conversation. If there's somebody at your table or in your conversation that hasn't spoken up, ask if they have anything to share. Ask what they have to say. Don't call them out if you're not comfortable speaking and someone invites you into the conversation. No, thank you is a completely perfect response to that question. And remember that we are not here to solve our individual problems. Our individual challenges, we are here to talk about the 10,000 foot, 100,000 foot view systems change work. And so I know that can sometimes be a challenge when it feels so close and personal to our own experiences. So where that happens, think about how those of us in the room who are systems people can connect you to the services and supports that may be able to meet your needs and support each other in that. Did I miss anything that other folks want to sort of name? Like, I would love if people would focus on this group agreement that the council has as well. An awkward room to. Okay.
Gonna get more awkward, don't worry.
Yeah, today is the day of awkward.
Okay,
Lean in.
I have handed out, and if you didn't get any, let me know, in their extras, the star sticky notes. These have a really specific purpose, but a fun one. So what I would love for people to do is spend some time today offering gratitude to others in the room. So think of 2 or 3 people and 2 or 3 specific things you've seen today, yesterday, over the course of your time working with people, the excitement of meeting someone new, something positive, maybe something positive about the person that sometimes in your mind you're the least positive about, to get some good energy going in the room. And then you're just going to drop them in a mailbox that I've created so they'll be anonymous. Please put the to person who you're sending the gratitude or the kind thoughts or the well wishes to on the star. Please do not sign the star, like no from, just to. And then there's a mailbox over here. And I really want everyone to be impressed with my keen art skills, because look at that mailbox. So you'll know exactly where it goes. And then when we're coming into and out of the room, there's a lot of hustle and bustle, good opportunity to drop them in a way that's anonymous. So think about that as things, or as you notice something, as you're seeing something, et cetera, just an opportunity to do that. We'll hand them out at the end of the day. But that just means don't be that person like Elliot that waits until 3 minutes until we're done to write them, because then it won't be anonymous. So something we're doing today that's an on your own as it arises. There's not scheduled time. It's on your own time. Great.
All right. So I wanted to spend a little time sort of resetting / reflecting on yesterday before we dive into
a little bit more. Yesterday was some really great energy. I don't know if that was felt by y'all, but I feel like we were able to have a lot of productive conversation and even just ideation. There's a lot of documents that especially Addie really dug through to get us to a point where it was like, here's all this stuff that's been brought together. How do we make it into an actual plan? And then you all came in ready to actually bring ideas, have discussion with each other. And generally speaking, it seemed to go really well. And so hopefully that is energy that y'all as a group are able to carry forward. Because the strategic plan is helpful, but it's only so good as it actually functions and starts making progress on things. So today we'll be working on the strategic plan and validating that. But then the next step that we're going to move into is action plan, which is really where the work's going to take off, which is what are the tasks and steps that are going to get this strategic plan done? And who are the people that are actually going to do it? And that's going to be key of where you all have bought in and decided that you're going to help with this. Because at some point, someone's going to call you up and say, hey, we're at that place where we're ready to do this thing and we need you to buy in and help us do that. So I hope that as you're thinking about the strategic plan and the next couple of conversations where you say, yes, this is good, you're also thinking about it from the lens of, yes, I agree, we're going to do our best to make this happen. So that when we get there, you're not like, what is this? I never agreed to this. That's really tough, right? The other
Can I
piece.
piggyback on that really quick?
Yeah.
The one thing I want to say about that is, so today's the day to bring the stuff. As we put the strategies up, because we're going to validate goals and strategies today. If something's sticking with you and you can't live with it, please don't bring it to me 2 months from now. That's really hard as a facilitator. And if that means you need to use the parking lot or secret messages or a text message, by all means, you don't have to shout out and say, I hate it to me directly, but we can't get it there if we don't get the input from people. And we're going to be using a lot of really different modalities today, ways to provide input. But if you're thinking of it, now's the time to speak up, because at some point I have to do the really hard job with a really thoughtful group like this, where I draw the line and say, this is it for now. We'll revisit in the future, because I do have to get something on paper. We do have to get something on paper. So I just really want to encourage people to step in if there's something. It is my facilitator pet peeve when someone 2 months from now is like, wait a minute, goal 3, strategy 2, I cannot live with, I can't deal with it. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. And I've had that person in 6 different conversations about goal 2, strategy 3. So do your best to be brave, or find a way that feels brave to you to let us know.
So one of the things that I really liked about yesterday with all the idea generation, one of the things that I struggled with was it didn't feel like it was okay to disagree with folks, and it was seen as challenging or challenging the person, not necessarily the idea.
Sure.
And I guess I'd really want to challenge our group to challenge the idea, not the person, and to take challenge as not a negative, but as a let's talk through this and see where we land on it. Because I didn't feel like we set a good enough boundaries yesterday to do that, or maybe we just weren't in that place, but I would love to be able to get to that place today.
That sounds great. I'm here for that. And what we're going to be doing today and the way we've constructed the activities, Elliot and I are going to be at the center of things because we're so awesome and we want it to be all about us. But really because that way feedback can come at us to us. And that's what you're going to hear me say today quite a bit is bring it to me. I represent the idea, not to the person. And so I really appreciate that. So I want to encourage exactly that. And I really want folks to bring it to me, bring it to the center. That'll help us. That's sort of like, you know, in my bag of tricks that I have, one of the common ones that I use to like get it out of the circle and into the space that we're talking about the policy, the problem, the solution, not the person. So I really appreciate that. And I love the leadership from within saying, let's try this as a group. I want to offer it. I just makes my heart warm. Thank you.
Is there a hand over there?
Yeah, I'm trying to balance. I think you made a really good point yesterday, and I tried to hold it throughout that people with a .gov by their names, or at least perceived to have more power in the room. And certainly want to bring that forward today, but also hear this need to, you know, as we fine tune to maybe bring up some of the things that have guardrails from either state or federal. Can you give us just a little bit more guidance so we do a good job as agency folk to make the space for, I don't want to create that power dynamic in any way.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So couple things about that. Good news today is we're going to be at the strategy level, right? We're at the goals and strategy level today. Yesterday, we went into action steps. I am really good. I also require sleep. So it turns out I didn't write your whole implementation plan last night. I did write your whole strategic plan. So good news on that. Didn't get to the implementation plan. So one thing I want to level set for today is part of the action plan is going to have to happen behind the scenes. I love facilitating, but we came up with about 180 action steps. That's not uncommon. Those have to get processed in a smaller group, and that'll happen with SOCAC staff and Elliot and I. And that's it. We're done. We don't want input. I'm kidding. It will come back for input once, if not twice. And part of the conversation that will happen there is about the doability, right? So are we setting SOCAC staff up for never sleeping ever? We won't make big decisions or prioritize, but we'll come back to this group and say, okay, you asked us to break down 72 barriers. We have capacity to break down 7 as a group. Which 7 do we want that to be? Or we talked about accessing, one of the ones I really loved was like a 30% sort of set aside for children in the system. We'll come back to the group and I'll facilitate the can we and how do we actually get there, right? And those will be conversations that I'll be in. So 1, I want to level set expectations for today. 2, I really appreciate that question. I think that the pieces of advice I would give, and then I'm going to open it up to the table, who can give you the real advice, are always listen first, hear the whole thing out. And then that's where we come back to the thing I say a lot, which is trying to be solution oriented. So not the no, but the, okay, here's where that gets complicated. Here are a couple other options. Here are a couple other pivots, or I hear those also haven't worked. Let me spend some time thinking through it, talking to my staff, figuring out how we can come to some kind of yes, because I hear this is really important. And I would really encourage a lot of reflective listening, which is sounding back to people what you're hearing. I always think I've got it on the first try. This is something Elliot has taught me a lot. And then I'm like, oh, so what you said is blah, blah, blah. And Elliot's like, nope, sure isn't. That's what I said through the Addy filter. And then I'm like, okay, help me understand. So spending that time to do some reflective listening to the entire statement, validating the experience of a different agency person or someone with lived experience, because their experience is real, even if it doesn't clock with what you think should have been their experience. That's something I know in times I've worked in state agencies where I've been closer to the top, things that happen at the bottom don't always look like the way I think they should.
Yeah.
And then creating that solution focused or offering to take it offline, right? So another tool in the tool belt can say, well, that's a lot to unpack. I'd really love to hear more about what happened and how we can do that better. Is there a chance that I can give you my phone number, email, whatever, and we can have that deeper dive? Those are the things that come to my mind. I'm going to open the table.
I do want
better
to say,
advice.
I think also another thought is like letting people offer up the big, like, in a perfect world, that'd be a great idea. Letting them offer that up, because also sometimes it challenges system folks to be like, okay, I have gotten really locked into the system
Mhm.
and I haven't gotten as creative in a while. And so it doesn't mean you're taking the whole idea either, but I think offering on both sides to here's the system challenges, here's the creativity, and there's gonna be times where that works.
You better protect
Um,
yourself or you're going to get smacked.
If I do, I probably deserved it.
Oh, no.
No.
I trust y'all to not hit me for no reason.
I feel like now we're going to do this.
Continue. Protect Jesus at all costs.
But I do feel like there's been times where I've been in spaces where like we're stuck on the like, I see all the barriers, I know this is why that's not gonna work, or the law or the whatever. And the longer that person pushed on that, people were like, well, maybe actually we can take this part of this thing. So I think some of it's also, it doesn't have to even be a no right now. Some of that's even us taking it back and being like, all right, we plugged it in. We still have to figure out how the pieces fit together. So balancing sort of, does it actually need to be shut down? And in the ideation stage, ideally, everything is up for grabs. The actual problem solving really does come in the action plan and the like, there's no step forward to that right now. So we have to figure that out.
I just wanted to say,
that there's flyers for the IDD Mental Health Summit over here for anybody who wants to come or share in their network. It's August 6th, and the guest speaker is Guy Stevens, founder of the Alliance Against Seclusion and Restraint, and it's about behavior as biology and about transforming systems.
Timely.
Yes.
Very timely. I love how you got that in at just the right moment.
Big ideas.
Any of you in this room do want to attend that, SOCAC is helping sponsor, please come see me at the first break.
Breaks. We don't get any breaks. I'm just kidding.
If they give us a break, come see me.
Yeah.
I'll get you registered. But yeah.
The facilitator secret is we take breaks because we need breaks.
So I think one of the things though, just like as we move into today, is that I really want you to think about, again, we've said this a couple times, but like you as a functional group have to find your path forward beyond even the strategic plan. How does SOCAC serve the state? How does SOCAC do what it set out to do? The strategic plan gets us on the road to that, but you actually have to do it, right? And so staying committed to that, including like, what are the ways that we all can listen to each other better? What are the ways that we can be open to other ideas? What are the ways that we need to like get unstuck from things we've been stuck in? And I feel like yesterday was a really cool opportunity to see like, what are ways that this group can really like get cooking when we're just listening to each other and sort of giving each other that space. So
Whether it's in the microwave or the crock pot, or I heard someone needs a pressure cooker. I was like, oh,
no. Lisa, do you have any?
Yeah, no, I love that kind of grounding again. And I think one of the things, as a family rep on this council, I really hope that we can all just take a minute and recognize that there's a lot of folks for whom we're writing this strategic plan, who are not in this room right now. And that might be for, various reasons, or, they're not represented at all in this space. And it might be for various reasons, including just not feeling like it is safe for them to be in the space, or not having the opportunity to be here. The list goes on, but I really hope that we can come together and understand that there are so many youth and families in this state that need the support and need services, but who are not represented here. So I think that's it.
Yeah.
thank you.
I think a challenge of any group that's doing this work is how do we make sure we're really trying to serve all and represent all, which is a task that I think is especially put heavily on people with experience, families or youth, to come forward and carry all that voice. And like, you're you and you can bring in the voices you've heard, right? But what are all the ways that we bring in those voices? And I was just hearing, I think, Wes, you had just done some groups with youth at OIA, right? Like, what are the ways that we are all bringing to the table the voice of folks we're serving or the people that we're connected to make sure that we're accurately, like, when we look at the strategic plan, we're like, yep, I see the pieces and parts where these folks are starting to be represented, and challenging ourselves to really tie it back to that. So with that, we didn't have as much time yesterday to dive into the get to know you of each other, and you don't all know each other super well. You may have gotten to know each other some through the process, but we want to do an activity to get you to know each other a little bit more. So we're gonna have folks come in the center, but I'm gonna let Addie explain how she wants to set this up.
So the 15 of you on this side, you're gonna form a circle facing outward. So I'm gonna let you come in and form a circle in the middle facing outward. You see, you guys get to move too, don't worry. So much.
I was wondering that too. We're gonna go. That's right, you got it. Just facing outward, back to each other.
I know, yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. Bring me down, take them toward the table to make room for everyone. Yeah.
Let's shift the circle back. We need to shift the
And-
circle because they're up against the circle.
If everyone can sort of hear my voice and scooch towards me in whatever way works, because you're all facing different directions.
Couple of steps to run up and out.
Okay,
Circle.
this table, you're gonna go and find a partner and face them at a respectful space.
Outer circle.
And you guys should fill in.
We're
gonna
Okay, at least there's enough. There you go. Yes.
And we can make the inner circle move so the outer circle can stay put.
There it is. The dancing might be better.
Curriculum.
So I got to instate.
So we've got a spot here.
The room run.
Spot here and here.
Street.
Staff.
Staff from
Looks like it's hard. So at least here. Something that you were.
So yeah, I just kind of realized.
Oh, yes.
I'm gonna buy it. Breathe. And I'm like, I'd pay them all at once.
Oh. And then we're gonna do the hard part. Ready? Okay, now.
I know somebody.
We're gonna do a practice. In circle, take a step to the left. So you're gonna be in front of the person to your left.
Inner circle. Step to the left.
Step to the left. And y'all.
There we go.
I'm gonna kick you out so Anderson can be in the circle. Anderson, you can take Cody's.
If you can hear me, clap one. If you can hear me, clap twice. So this activity, the challenge will be the volume, no matter what, because we like talking, and you're gonna talk. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna give you a question, and you're gonna have just a minute or two to kind of rapid fire discuss with your partner. So you're also gonna want to share enough time that you both hear from each other. And then we're gonna have you rotate. We're gonna move through about 10 questions. So you're gonna meet people. So I'll probably do the clap because that seems to be the easiest thing to cut through the noise. But then we'll move to the next question, but you'll have time to check in with those. So we'll tell you to step to the left for the rotation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Can you give us a halfway mark?
Halfway mark, like a time check. I will do my best. I'll have to like
Okay, thank you.
do a dance or something. If Elliot's dancing, it's halfway through. All right. So your first question to discuss with your partner. Tell a story about what brought you into the work that you do or keeps you in it. And this is brief. So what's that thing that brought you into the work or why you keep doing it?
Here we go first.
Ready? Go. Ready?
I mean, I think you know.
You haven't already switched who's talking.
I didn't really explain that, you know, but. My mom says I am.
I'm gonna be insane. CBOs got together and they actually decided to yesterday.
10 seconds. Clap once. You hear me? Clap twice.
Yes, I'm gonna have it straight up.
All right, inner circle. You are going to move one person to the left. Inner circle. Take one step to the left so you're at a new person. Someone has to go first. There we go. Okay, now you go. There we go. It's more the exercise if someone has to move. No one has to move. Caleb, we're gonna champion. Wait. I'm gonna give you a question. It's a new question.
New question each time. New question each time. We should have said that first. Our bad.
All right, your next question with your new partner, which again, halfway through, you're gonna switch and the other person's talking if they haven't already, is
How conversations work.
yeah, share something that your community has taught you that changed how you show up in life or work. Share something that your community has taught you that changed how you show up in life or work. Again, I'll sort of shout at the midpoint, ready, go.
Sorry, I can't think of anything. Completely honest.
I was living in a small thing.
I bring my whole self into this. If you take things personally, like I'm trying to stay in that, and not let go of that. Actually, and even if communities keeping that like who I am, so I can show up. Like there's been times where I've been told that I need to show up differently.
Haven't already switched who's talking.
Chill. It's just see and do all the things and like I struggle. But just yeah, I mean simply like I want to have all this stuff family. So I want to get rid of everything. Even if it's very and I learned about well first I learned about their ideology. But it doesn't always work out. Why? How I show up every morning. That's funny. So I know the Trader Joe's and Brandon met them. Picked everyone out. We had her hair. It was like Sunday attire, right? Like her hair's a match. And me too. Like we're all just like totally grubby at Trader Joe's, and it was like it was a great reminder of that. Like we're like all the drama, right? That we go through.
Okay, we're gonna do our next rotation. So people in, so move one to the left. Right, we're moving to the left, moving to the left, moving to the
All right. Oh, I saw you.
Right, I have your next question. I remember. I have your next question. All right.
I'm a breed. It's nice to meet you.
Your next question is sharing about a joy in the work. So what is a moment in your work, big or small, that made you feel proud, hopeful, deeply connected, or just a joy? So what is something in your work that has made you feel proud, hopeful, or deeply connected? Ready, go.
That's up to you. Customized to like her team. One work that she's doing, staying anchored in the values regardless of all the. Just working to be everything. But I feel like more learning she was asking us to be excited. I was asked about really and she had talk about we're going to go with the event like that's awesome. I was well that's why now we have either way, I don't want to go for LA birthday party yesterday. All the conversations we had, I'm like, it's so specific around everything. I know you do. It's good. I'm just really just anxious that I'm meeting a client. Nice for the master. It's very, even if it's not finalized, it adds to me some finalized alignment, right? Like I'm not watching, I'm not surviving. I'm trying to be here, but I'm thinking like, okay, Wednesday, so I've been taking notes. Yeah, my retreats on Wednesday. Why do I not?
Okay, got 2 more rotations. You're gonna rotate and I'm gonna give you another question. Let's say hi to your new partner and rotate 1 to the left. Inner circle. Inner circle.
Where can be more?
Right, we're moving to the left. We're moving to the left.
So far, yeah.
Moving to the left.
I like
Memo correct? Let me give you your new question.
Hi, I'm Cameron. Nice to meet you. Didn't recognize you.
Let me give you your new question.
How big I am.
All right. What is something that helps you stay grounded in when work or life gets really hard? This could be an activity, this could be a thing you do, people you talk to, but what is something that keeps you grounded in your work and life when things get hard? Ready, go.
It's actually what they're looking for in this method, but like, trying to get Oh, yeah, get out of that. So, yeah, I usually do thinking it out. I'm very confused. It's a 3 hours. Like 5 English, it has the beat. Yeah, so the clap twice. If you can hear me, clap 3 times. We're on the last round.
One more rotation, please. In our three.
Yes, thank you.
Go to your last partner.
That's where I wanna go.
Someone move
New York will come out. Living in all the gays.
Yes. Right.
What do you want?
Very good.
I don't follow.
Okay, what's our last? All right, last question. If you were to do anything for work or for fun, but you weren't doing this job, so you wanted to garden, you wanted to rollerblade, you wanted to tell jokes for a living, what would be the thing you would do instead of what you're doing now? It's your last question. Go forth.
All right.
I don't write very well.
So I'd be like,
Okay. In my head. I know you said Earth, and I was like, maybe. Not that the challenge.
Like, no, we're not allergic about. And the first thing, like that. I don't think this is. Everybody has that.
Yeah, yes.
I don't know if you're gonna have a reaction, but like, yeah, I'd rather be safe than sorry.
It was really different. I would love
My sister.
Like pick out some.
How is that in your?
Oh, did you get to know that one? It's my multitasking skills. I'm gonna move chairs and ask that if there's anyone who is uncomfortable with us using general pictures on folks in the rooms, social media, etc., now is the time to let us know. They're all sort of big, no one.
I don't like being on social media.
We don't like what?
I like to said that. Yes. So that'll be happening and we will at lunch, if you need to go like recurl your hair or whatever, we'll do a group photo. That's a joke about.
Even more.
Oh, no, I'm loving the one.
Jackie, I'm pretty sure I've got a straightener.
Did everybody enjoy getting to know each other a little bit more? Yeah? Good, good.
Socialize.
Take a minute to figure out the
So,
circle.
no more
To the
people.
left.
No socializing.
All right, well, there's no more socializing. Now we're strategic planning. So you're safe.
Starting now.
Great. So what we're gonna do is a fishbowl. Has anybody been a part of, watched a fishbowl facilitation?
once.
Okay, Ivy English, there you go. Throwback. All right, so what's gonna happen is we're gonna have 6 lucky volunteers / voluntold come into the center. We've already identified who you are, so. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at our mission and we're also gonna look at our vision. What you're gonna do is the people in the middle are the people who are having the discussion. They are not the final deciders, but for the purpose of this exercise, these are the people having a discussion. If you are not in the middle, you're observing the conversation, you're fighting the impulse to dive into the conversation, to offer your thoughts, you're writing them down instead of jumping in or correcting.
Does anybody need a notepad, for example?
We have notepads, we got sticky notes. You may have a thought that you want to write down and that's fine. You're just not diving in unless you're in the middle. So I'm looking for Cameron. Come in. Jackie, we're gonna have you come in. Anderson, can you come in the middle for us? Sandra, there you are. Can you come in the middle for us, please? Annette
You are allowed to politely decline.
and Adam P.
Okay.
All right,
Oh, yeah, we had to go. What were we supposed to bring?
all right.
Oh, they do it, that's not funny.
Also, there's a bunch
You
of
don't
stuff,
take notes if you want.
so please help yourself. It's better than throwing it away.
What's going on?
I don't want to throw any food away. I mean, it's not like.
He hasn't arrived yet. Okay.
Okay.
this is actually annoying.
So if you're in the middle, you don't have to take notes. You might want to because only one person is going to talk at a time, but you don't have to. If you're on the outside, again, you're listening to the conversation. You're fighting the urge to shout out your thoughts. You're letting this group talk, right? You can write down your thoughts because we still might have thoughts from you that we'll come back to when we do the large group. Has everybody got that? Makes sense enough? So what's gonna happen, middle group, is we're gonna pull up the mission first.
They're both on the same slide.
Okay, we're just gonna talk about one. And we want to hear your thoughts about it. The mission is what Addie and I brain molded together to get us to based on all of yours yesterday.
Like, can you explain, we have like 5 new people in the room, what we
Sure.
did yesterday?
Yesterday, we had 4 groups that drafted a mission as well as a vision for SOCAT to update it. We looked at example missions and visions from other places. We talked about the type of words and language we might use. And then those 4 groups drafted missions and visions. They're really solid. But we did need to mush them together to actually get to a new updated SOCAC mission and vision. So we will pull that up and what you're gonna see is, it's a draft. It's not final. You all things. So this first group, you're gonna discuss the mission. With
And then I touched the tech and now here we are. So we're gonna, it's a good opportunity for me to focus not on perfection, but instead on, excellent, etc. So we can do them at the same time. Pretend, everyone, you can only see the mission. Maybe I'll like hang a sticky note on the slide. Okay, everybody only read the mission. Live in this false world with me. Oh, it's still gonna project onto the white. Man.
We got our last. I was like really taking my time, you know, I didn't realize it was like a cheating. Then we'll have to do it again. Just might get it back. I can talk about like
It's
the
nice to
first.
have us all on video, like right next
Or
to us.
driving change.
Doesn't make me feel awkward at all.
This would be a great time to write on your star stickies, thinking about the mailbox.
Or grab some food. Oh no. This is our only tech issue in 2 days. We're kind of winning in my opinion.
That's pretty good.
Okay, I'll memorize that. You memorize the second to last. Like I should do like, I've got answer something. Wow. I wish I could have time. That's the actual time. I was about late. We did it. Yeah, I'd rather.
All right.
For sure.
Give me, you're on the road. So does anybody want to read the mission for everybody?
Someone not in the fishbowl.
Someone not in the fishbowl want to read the mission for us?
Mission, SOCAC drives equitable system change by centering youth and family lived experience, advancing community care, and eliminating barriers across systems through collaboration, accountability, and advocacy.
Thank you so much.
Ooh, that's what I want to hear, except for from these people.
So from the people in the middle, Addie.
I'm gonna go sit down. I know.
So one at a time. Does anybody in this group want to start with either your reaction to like things you'd want to change, just anything that comes to mind? How are you feeling about the mission? Center.
Our dinner conversation last night really centered around whether SOCAC has the power or ability to hold systems accountable to do the things that they say that they're going to do or that we think they should do. And what the general consensus was, and it actually changed for me in that conversation, was that there is not a level of accountability that SOCAC cannot hold systems accountable to do the things that we think they should do when their systems mandate that they do other things. So if I was changing this to be what I believe to be actionable and can be completed, it would be changing accountability, and it would be through collaboration, advocacy, and policy.
Okay. Thoughts, middle circle on that change or just your general reaction to the mission? Thanks for that.
I'm curious about SOCAC drive equitable system change. I think I'm so like, what does that mean? Like equitable system change, because I don't think, to me, that says a uniform approach across all systems. And I'm not so sure that's, well, I don't know. There's something about that doesn't sit right necessarily. It just feels like a little fluff to me, not
Sure.
like something strong of exactly what we're doing. But I do agree about the accountability. I think that there is a big question about how do we hold systems accountable and what does that actually look like and what is our responsibility and can we actually do that?
For me, equitable seems more defined than, I feel like I could live with equitable and not culturally, linguistically responsive. I feel like equitable means that everyone is treated fairly, everyone gets what they need from the system. And from my vantage point, sometimes we have to hold some of these systems accountable for, especially child welfare, juvenile justice. And I don't know how we do that, but it feels like if there's an overrepresentation of a population in these systems that we're talking about, for me, there has to be some way, and I don't know how that's gauged for, maybe accountability is not the word, but there has to be some level of your system needs to do something different.
Sure. Cameron, and then Anderson or Sandra can go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like, if we, this is like more for like reorganizing it based on what Jackie said, like you can kind of just cut the first part out if like what we're really trying to say is that we want to eliminate barriers. If that's like our main mission, then that could come first. And you could say like SOCAC aims to eliminate barriers across systems through collaboration, advocacy, and policy by centering youth lived experience, or lived experience first and the other list last.
Sure.
But you could chop out the first part if that doesn't make you feel good, because also it like I don't want to like make it too short, but I do think they're a little bit long and have like we kept trying to read it and then it was like flashing away and we're like, we still haven't finished it, you know, so could stand to be a little shorter maybe.
Yeah.
I guess when I'm reading it, I actually don't know what advancing community care means. I think I could figure it out, but I think it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
So it might look different in the vision, but for the mission, the way I understand a mission to be is it's not super clear and measurable to me.
Sure.
I like the idea of accountability. I also like the idea of but I don't know how that looks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm starting to think that we're trying to, do this change, but it almost feels like we have to like start over instead of trying to fix this stuff that we.
And start over as like SOCAC,
Yeah.
start over as a.
I think our systems.
Yes, yeah.
I think our individual systems, like I'm, I've been in juvenile justice for a long time, and it's a system that I think needs to start from the ground. I mean, I think there's a purpose and a reason why we should exist, and I think we have a place. But just keep trying to like chip away at all the little
Scrap it,
things.
start over.
Yeah.
Okay. Anderson, anything you want to add, react to? Yeah.
I think my mind has been focused in on the word drives there, oddly enough, with everything else that's there. And more so just as I'm newer to SOCAC, I feel like it gives me a little bit more understanding potentially of like what role we can have in this, and might get a little bit at that accountability piece. Because to me, it answers the question of like, where does change happen? And if we're at the crossroads at all these different systems and or system singular, at that point, we, in conversations we had some yesterday around being like the curator of all these different ideas and best practices that are coming in. And so if we have coming together this opportunity to really innovate, faster or more thoroughly maybe than some of the other individual systems on their own, we then can take a leadership role in the change that happens and then drive all of that's happening after what's coming in there. And if folks really then start to look to SOCAC around even what it means to be equitable, because in 10 years from now, it might mean something different. Or what it means to advance care, that definition is going to have to, over time, become more thorough as we learn more about our communities.
Okay. That's where we're going to pause this. The group outside, you've got hopefully some notes or thoughts you're feeling about the mission. We're going to come back to it in a large group. We're going to rotate now. You all can go back to your seats. We're going to react to the vision of the second group. Thank you, group one.
Yeah.
Oh, you can keep. Oh yeah, you're welcome to like note it and then we'll large group it. Okay, Cindy, looking for you to come in the middle. Lacey Anderson isn't here, so we need a different systems person. Kyle. Kyle Johnson.
Kyle's here.
Oh, that was the last one. Mark up. Yeah, we might have to in a second. Kyle's here. Jesus. Dan. Jenny?
Am I in your seat?
So Holly's Meadows, Chelsea is OHA Challenge.
Chelsea, can you come in the middle?
Jill is having.
Okay, the coolest shoes.
I just said you have the coolest shoes there.
So same thing as last. This group's gonna have a discussion, react, and go from one to the other. Outside group, make notes, reaction, thoughts, and then when this group is done, we'll have the large group discussion. So just whether it's Jesus or someone else who did so good. Somebody want to read out the vision for us?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. Vision! In Oregon, where all children, youth, and families across all backgrounds are healthy, safe, and thriving in their homes and communities, supported by responsive and affirming systems designed with and for them.
Great. So this is the vision again. We sort of took all your visions, put it together into a start of a draft of one. Anybody want to react first to whether like it, dislike it, changes, any reaction from the center? Jenny, start us off.
Yeah, the word healthy,
Mhm.
because a lot of the families that I work with and support have medically fragile children who will technically never be considered healthy.
Gotcha.
And people with chronic illness, I know, have also spoke out about that. And so I'm wondering if instead, whose health needs are met, worked in there as an alternative.
Yeah. Great. Somebody want to go next? Any reaction?
Yeah, I think that was some of our conversation yesterday. So but I like that some of the edits that we suggested yesterday are there from our conversation. That's sort of my initial reaction.
Okay.
I love the designed with and for them. I think that's really important. That's a really good.
Great.
Yeah, you often see like these things said of like designed with them in mind, which whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
Uh,
It means it's our vision, not theirs.
We thought of them once. and they
You
moved
know,
forward.
We thought about you.
Yeah,
we know they're out there.
Yeah.
Well, I do like the I don't know how to phrase this in like a professional way. The overall feel, I guess. You know, I don't have the
Vibe.
big ticket words for it. Yeah, the vibe of it I think is good. It encompasses basically every conversation that I overheard,
Mhm.
which happens to be a lot because I have anxiety and I'm always scanning the room. I do, yeah, the healthy part is like a big ticket. And I usually like to see something more like along the lines of as it appears for them. In things like this. Because, you know, thriving can be subjective, safe can be subjective, home can be subjective. But overall, I do think it kind of covers a lot of what I heard and said and thought.
Great.
Do you think it would make more sense to take out homes and just put thriving in their communities? Because to me, I kind of agree with you on that. I don't know about the homes. That part stood out. to me.
I think if you were to remove homes, you would also have to remove communities. Because there's folks that struggle with finding community. So they don't really see a community there. I think having both is the only way you'd have either.
I think too, it's important to try to keep families together. And so when you say homes, that kind of gets to that piece of keeping families together.
Sure. We want people to have homes, whatever that may look like.
Yeah.
We want people to feel at home somewhere.
Any other thoughts, Dan or Kyle?
I liked homes and communities.
Okay.
I like the whole thing. I think it's fantastic. And I'll certainly defer to people who know much more about this than I do. But to me, healthy doesn't imply the absence of illness or disability. People can be healthy with their illnesses and with their disabilities. And I like the word healthy.
Okay, great. Any other final thoughts from this inner circle group on vision?
Yeah, I think in closing overall, I'm a big advocate for not striving for perfection. We're never gonna get it. So with that in mind, I do think this kind of covers like where we want to go, right? Like this is an ideal landscape of like everyone can feel happy, they can feel safe, they can feel included, they can find a sense of community, they can find home, right? I also think like families being not explicitly stated to be like the ones you're born with, right? Like, you know, whatever family you decide. So I think this really leaves it open-ended enough for anybody to make their own interpretation as to what each thing means. And with anything, if a certain word or phrasing of it can cause harm, that's kind of an unintended consequence and something that might just come with it. But I do think if anything would be removed or workshopped, it can be, and it would still hold the same meaning. So that's more of like, I guess, just.
Yeah. I just had a last thought. We had a long conversation about the federal response and sort of the word list. And that we're all now moving away from calling out specific communities that while we put the word all, we know are excluded. And so thinking about like, I guess being mindful as we do the strategic plan under this vision and mission, if we're choosing to kind of move away from equity or move away from, you know, I can't remember all the different words we talked about yesterday, but you know, that just thinking, just having that be mindful of that as we start moving away from calling out the specific communities that we were focusing on. Yeah.
Can I just quickly, you meant moving away from the word equity, right? Not the strategy.
Correct. I guess that's what I'm saying is like, we're moving away from a lot of language.
Just want to make sure.
But when you set a vision without all those words guiding you, right, then it's easy to be like, well, we're just doing this for everybody, right? And so just thinking of that with the strategic plan, I think we're thinking about that in OHA as well, of like if everyone's going to soften their language of like, how do you make the strategies, the planning of your birthday party, like really explicit?
We're just gonna write everything as planning your birthday party.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna close this one, go back to your seats. So, thank you. Okay, so just really quick before we do the full group, how many people were like, oh, I have a thought and I want to share it?
Oh my God, that's so hard for me.
That was so hard for
That's
me. So a couple people, right, that you like had a comment or a change or a reaction to. So A, kudos for holding it. Thank you, Anna, that your question was clarification. But I think that one additional thing that this group will always, and any group has to continue to work on is how do we hear from like both our quietest people, our crockpot thinkers, our people who just are like gonna process for a minute. And make sure that we hear all of that versus the loudest, most zealous advocates who have great things to say, but we want to hear the full story. So let's go back. Let's go right ahead and go back to the mission. Is that okay?
Feedback on that.
Yeah, but I'm going to start on the mission first. So from the outside group who wasn't in the middle, thinking about the mission, what comments do you want to add that you didn't already hear? So Emily and then Spirit.
I really liked what Anderson had to say about the SOCAC role. I think that's where I really struggled with yesterday. Like on one hand, I want us to do all the things. And then the other is like, how do we like really like place ourselves in the right place? And so like when I looked at the mission, you know, drives, advances, eliminates, I'm like, is that our role? And I loved the word curator because I think that's right. We pull it all together. And then the question I have is then what do we do once we curate?
I think for me, it's when we got caught up on the word accountability and people are like, well, how do we do that? Like, we can't do that, but we have. Like with OIA and the whole situation, we had them come in, made them sweat, we made them think, we made them do the work. People might not like that terminology, but I think making people uncomfortable that are usually more comfortable gets the best outcomes. And I think that that's something that we have the ability and we have proven that we can do. Although we haven't done it very often, we've done it starting now. So I think that if it's like, hey, this specific thing that's happening in this, we want you to come to us and explain to us why that's happening. Because even if like they're just coming in for an hour and they're telling us about it, they have to plan, they have to script, they have to think, and they have to sweat. And that unfortunately is how sometimes change has to be made.
That's equity, baby.
Equity. Yes.
Pin
in the head.
I want to press against the word equitable. I think you've had conversation before. I've been challenged lately. I'm on the
board of a nonprofit arts organizations, and we had an NEA grant, we had to change our language to get that grant, but not change our values. And I know for my neighbors in my community, they see that word equitable, they automatically shut off. And so, and I have the same thing with like the phrase in the vision where it says all backgrounds. I know people, my neighbors, who will shut off when they hear that. And we don't want that because we're just trying to help kids. So how do we wordsmith that, change the nomenclature so we have the same values, but we're not turning people off from the get? Like when the second they see that, they shut us out. And it's tough because I love that personally in my values, but I know my neighbors are just going to shut us off and they're not going to hear a word I have to say when ultimately we're all just trying to help kids.
Anyone else? Mission.
I feel like as uncomfortable as those words may make different communities, Andy, yours and others, when I look at these data points that are on the table, it's clear that some youth and families are not being served. So I feel like taking that into account, equitable and accountability, to me, those are, they have to be there because kids are not getting what they need from these systems. So if we're gonna actually impact things, and I understand the language might be a little rough for different, for various reasons, but for our purpose, which is to serve youth and families across the board who need support, I feel like we have to stand on something. And equitable and accountability are ones I feel are things that we need to stand on.
Yeah, and ideally equitable and all people includes your kids and your neighbor's kid, right? And so it might be an activating term, but we mean everybody. So Alicia and then here. And then Jesus.
Yeah, I think and this is one of the things that I struggle with a lot, because the term equitable to me, I see it as this multifaceted thing, where on one hand, equitable is more in line with what Annette is saying, is that, right, there are all these different areas are in Oregon and families and youth in Oregon who are not receiving the services and supports that they need right now. And the term equitable could help elevate those youth and families, like children, youth and families, to, for us to actually pay attention, which would include some of my rural neighbors. And in a lot of ways, and then on the other hand, it's the term equitable has become this like politically charged word where it's like, as soon as you see it, there are some folks who are just like, nah, it either means Black or LGBTQIA plus, and everything's out the window. Anything else that you say after that, it's just done. No matter how many times you try to explain that, there is an actual process, or, we're not just standing here and saying, ooh, white supremacy is bad, and we're gonna go and take out white supremacy and blame everything on white people, right? And I think that is the most frustrating part to me, is that the term itself has a purpose, but because of some very loud voices on, at multiple fronts, the term has just been rendered almost meaningless for families like mine, or families that I know and that I engage with. So while I don't necessarily have an issue with the term equitable, overall, I think it is definitely something that we need to look at also in terms of the fact that while we have this data right here, having been part of the data collection process over the last year or so and being very involved in the data committee, one of the things that stands out to me is that there are folks who are not included in the data itself. So this data that we have is inconclusive. So while folks like us can stand here and say, this is what we see in our communities, right? And that's regardless of race or ethnicity. It's not reflected in the data. And so on one hand, or on like that third hand, then if I had one, it's like, how do we expect to actually have equitable system change when the system isn't even counting families like ours?
Yeah.
I guess that's, yeah.
Okay. So your last name, Jesus, and an Addie.
I think it was something that I thought about before the DC conference, but kind of was cemented when we went there. We went to a presentation called how to essentially how to get historically resistant organizations to accept things like support for queer folks, support for people of color, support for immigrants. I do not remember what it was called, and I'm not going to look it up.
I think it was literally like support for organizations who are historically resistant.
I'll take that.
That's a good session title.
That's an A-, baby. I'm still passing. But I remember she worked for I think it was Catholic Charities of Maryland, I think. And she was like, our goal at the end of the day is to help all people. And we know that unfortunately there's some people that are going to see the word LGBT, they're going to see LGBTQ, they're going to see queer, they're going to see immigrant, they're going to see black, they're going to see any of those words and be gone. Like he was saying, like they're just like, no, why would I do that? And the way that they phrased it is like, unfortunately, especially in this day and age, you have to phrase it in a way that's like, oh no, we're helping everybody, regardless of if you know that you're doing it for these specific underserved communities or not. Because the reality is like, that's how a lot of the, like, I remember a big theme at the DC conference was, this is all the great work we're doing. We can't do it now. We lost our funding. So unfortunately, to help everyone, sometimes you have to phrase it in a way that still helps everyone and allows you to do the work to help specific people, but doesn't get the funding source that allows you to do that taken away. And unfortunately, that's where we are as like a federal agency. And it sucks and it's dumb and it's stupid. And as a youth, there's other words that I could say that I shouldn't say in public, but it's the truth. And that's unfortunately what we have to go up against. And it's just the reality of the situation.
I'm gonna take like two weird approaches to this. Still on equity because I feel like it's important. One, I've seen the distaste for the word equitable from multiple angles, not just from like a race or political side, but also like me personally, I've been really harmed by organizations that claim to be equitable, right? Yeah. So sometimes just the mention of that word can be like, oh, you're bullshitting me, right? You're just you're trying to manipulate me. But on the same token, I will still take the resources if I need it, right? I think oftentimes we get caught so much in the wordsmithing that we forget that if we truly need these resources, we're gonna take them, right? Regardless of what it says. I've taken resources from charities that are completely religious, like, and obviously don't like what I'm about or who I am, but they offered me help and I took it because I needed it. So if the wordsmithing is really what the issue is, you could just spread it out by definition of, right, everyone gets what they need and leave it that way. Or if folks need the services you're giving, there's no need to compromise your morals to keep giving those services. If they need them, they're gonna take them regardless of the way that you wordsmith it. And if they're trying to strong arm you to change it, it's because they have ulterior motives.
Yep.
Thanks, Jesus.
Okay, we're here to do the hard work. I promised that I was gonna make make us not just analyze problems, but make decisions. My palms are sweating a little. I wish I was kidding. If you know me, that's true.
Arms are heavy.
Because I always want everyone to like me all the time. It's an area of, professional growth for me. All right, so here's what I have done so that you can hear my thinking, and then we're gonna take a little bit of a vote here in a unique way. I've heard, I think one thing, it feels to me like people like the idea of curates or organizes. Curates is not always an approachable word that a lot of people know, but if we love that word, we can stick with it. Organizes, I think, gets at the same idea close enough, but is a word a lot of people are familiar with. So I'm thinking we may want to change drives to organizes. I'm going to look around the room. Is there anyone who cannot live with drives changed to organizes? Yes.
I feel like that's not quite as, part of what we've got to do is push this system.
Okay.
And I've heard a lot of people talk about, well, gee, maybe that's not our role. If not us, then who? We have a lot of issues that were based, and I was telling this story earlier with somebody, we were talking about early on in my career when I was running a psychiatric unit, we had an individual who smuggled drugs into their hamburger. And for years, any unit I ran, I would not let anybody bring in fresh food, period. That was it. And then one day it occurred to me, why am I punishing everybody because one person put drugs in a hamburger? This is absurd. We have a million absurdities like that in the children's system. And because one little thing happened, now we've got a regulatory infrastructure around it. And God forbid we ever push back on that again. I fear that if what we do is organize, then all we're doing is rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Can it be
People
drives?
feel convinced because I'm hearing lots of drives and organizes.
Henry, about stripes.
We could do stripes. Stripes is allowed in a mission statement. Just so people are clear, I know it was one of our no words, but it is allowed in mission statement. But I like what you're getting at because it sort of smushes those two words, but I'm seeing that that's not a clear enough word. Models.
I would say from a state agency perspective, and I think I like the word drives because it really gives a meaning to what SOCAC is going to do to bring agencies together with this, where things should be driven by the voice of the people who have experienced systems, the children and the families. And I think without a strong enough verb, it doesn't put SOCAC in that vision and leadership role and how to really make that transformational change.
So here's what I'm hearing, doing some reflective listening, is right now we know SOCAC is curating and is organizing. And what we want, it sounds like from what I heard yesterday, is to continue doing that, but also to push for more of the change. But that's maybe an area of growth as we start to flex our muscles into this strategic plan that pushes for the actual change, including goal 1, as you all remember, which is like flipping the system on its head. So hearing this conversation, I'm going to suggest we say SOCAC drives and organizes because we know it organizes now and we want to get to drives. Hang with me just a little bit longer. I have pulled up, hearing the conversation around equitable. One thing I'm hearing that's very clear to me at the table, which I think we all agree on and are all celebrating, is it's the work we want to do. And the way we understand the word equitable is what we need to do, right? It's not just what we want to do, it's what we need to do. I'm also hearing some commentary around it can be a hard word for people to hear or it can turn people off. I've pulled up synonyms because, as we know, that's like what a lot of people are doing right now in reaction to the pushback. I can read you some of them. They're going to cause the same reaction, right? They are unbiased, unprejudiced, non-discriminatory, impartial, egalitarian. I'm open to folks telling me that's not true. One of my full-time work is political lobbying. All those words are the same words I hear people saying no to. So what I'm going to propose, and we're going to take some action on, is that we leave equitable because of all the words I'm looking at, it's the most gentle and it is the belief we have